Hi guys, my name's Lee from Andertons.
I'm Julian from Yamaha.
And we are now going to show you a very, very cool new addition to the THR family of Yamaha amplifiers called the THR5A, I think, for acoustic.
That's it.
And I've only heard this for about 10 seconds and I've fallen in love with it already. There's a whole heap of other information that you can go and find out in other videos that we've done about the whole concept behind THR. But let me just tell you, they're basically super cool, home use, practice recording type guitar amplifiers that just sound a lot better than all your kind of traditional type of home use amplifiers. So, what we've basically got, you'll probably, if you've seen some other THR videos, you're going to be quite familiar with this kind of layout now. We've got different types of, actually no, do you know what, I'm going to let Julian explain this bit because it is a bit different. Rather than this knob here being a guitar amp simulator, it's doing something a bit different, isn't it? So the very first one called mic type, what's that doing?
Well, as you said, this is THR specifically for acoustic guitarists. So it's got all the same THR functions that you're used to. So stereo speakers, USB playback, works as a USB recording interface. You can play your iPod or whatever stereo source through it and it still sounds killer. But the idea of this one is this is totally focused on acoustic players. So what you've actually got, instead of having a bunch of different guitar amp simulations, this time we've got mic simulations. Okay. So the idea being you can plug any electroacoustic into this, and this is an A1, Yamaha A1R, with just a regular kind of undersaddle pickup system. So none of our SRT mic modelling, there's none of that in the guitar. You just plug any guitar into this and then it will simulate different types of studio mics basically to give you a more natural sound.
So it's not making an electric guitar sound like an acoustic.
No.
It is a dedicated proper amp for an acoustic guitar player.
It's a proper, I mean it's something a little bit new because it's a proper acoustic guitar practice amp. Now obviously it's not going to go super loud, but it just allows you to have a different kind of expression when you're playing, when you play your electroacoustic through an amp. A little bit of effect. Obviously it means you can jam along with some backing tracks so you can record it really easily. But no, you can't plug an electric into this and make it sound like an acoustic. You plug an acoustic into it and it basically adds mic simulation to your acoustic.
Cool. So we're going to go through, we've got 5 different types of mic type. And so let's start with the first one called condenser.
So the controls you've got on the THR5. It's a little bit simplified controls compared to the 10. Basically, we've got the mic type control here. Then this first control, when you're using one of the mic simulations, is a blend control. So it blends from the direct sound, which is just the pickup of the guitar, to full mic. So you can it's not on or off.
That's an emulated version of what the guitar would sound like if you mic'd it up, you mean?
Exactly that. And actually that's quite a pro way of doing stuff. I mean, if you look at something like the John Mayer live DVD, he's playing his Martin and he's got a couple of mics in front of him, but he's plugged in as well. That's what a lot of people do because that piezo-y kind of pickup sound actually is really useful and bright and snappy. You don't want one or the other. You maybe just want to blend in a little bit of mic. So the first control allows you to do that. Actually, one of the models here isn't a mic; it's an electric guitar clean sound, which we'll come to. And that switches to a gain control when you do that, which is why it says blend or gain. So this is your blend control for the mic simulation. Then master volume, single morphing tone control. So this isn't like an old hi-fi tone control. As you turn this, it affects bass, middle, and treble all together. So it's a little bit like a kind of contour control. Everything changes at once. Then the first effect is your modulation effect, and this time we've got compression and chorus on there. So for the first time we've actually got compression on the top panel of this one, then delays and reverbs, master volume.
Cool. I mean, compression is a super, like an underrated kind of effect really, isn't it? I think when you're playing acoustic guitar, it's probably the most important effect to really have, isn't it? Particularly because it just takes away some of those nasty overtones that you get when you're kind of playing hard, sort of strummy, but also doesn't allow you to lose notes when you're doing sort of delicate sort of stuff.
That's it. And with this, actually, what you get is you dial in a little bit of that, and you get a studio guitar sound. So it's like a Radio 1 acoustic sound.
So just what we should tell you is what we're going to do when you hear the guitar through here is we'll turn off the lapel mics. and you're only going to hear, so you won't be hearing any of the actual natural acoustic guitar, and you're just going to hear what's coming out of the front of the amplifier with the two SM57s that we've got here. So just in case you're sort of wondering what you're actually hearing. So, and I'll move this blend control whilst you're playing. We've got a little bit of built-in reverb which we're going to have, and I'll come to the effects as well, but for now there's no effect on this particular one. So let's have a little listen.
So this is just the direct sound, this is just the pickup output of the guitar.
That's just the mic, obviously, of the mic emulation. And what I'll do is I'll blend so you can hear 50-50 of the two.
I might tune up. So let's we'll use the tuner on board.
Cool.
Which mutes the output as well. So whenever you use the tuner, it won't mute the stereo output. So if you're playing along to a track, the track will still come through, but it mutes the guitar output.
And that's the same on all the other THRs.
Same on all the THRs.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a really useful tuner because it's really stable. Good.
We'll stay on this sort of blended condenser mic sound now, and I'll just show you what the effects are. So I'll go through the ambient effects first. So you've heard a little bit of reverb, but we can really boost that up to make like a cathedral type reverb. We've got a bit of delay. And just like before on the other THRs, if I want to change the tempo of that delay, I just tap it in. So if I want a longer delay, I can just put a slow tap in like this.
Studio effects are pretty good.
Yes.
There aren't many pop records that haven't got some Yamaha SPX reverb or delay on there somewhere, and that's basically what you've got in here. So the effects are really good.
And we've also in the delay section we've got a bit of both, so you can have some delay and reverb. I'm just going to leave it on a sort of a subtle reverb now and show you the actual effects. Now the compression effect, I think what we'll try and do is I'll get Julian to play hard and I'll turn the compressor on whilst he's playing hard, and you'll hear that the notes go from being quite kind of raspy and a bit all over the place to a nice kind of sort of studio sounding sort of finished article.
Yeah, it's like kind of instant produced guitar sound.
So
it feels different to play. It's like playing with a proper studio acoustic.
That kind of finger picking stuff as well, and that lead stuff again, very useful to do sort of heavily compressed if you want to remove kind of the dynamics. So if you just want a nice stable part, so if you play a bit of what you can hear there is what Julian was doing by playing softer. He's changing the type of tone, but we're not really adjusting the actual output volume. So hard picking, soft picking, you can hear there's a difference, but from a volume level it stays very consistent. So that's the compression effect. There's a chorus effect on here, which is very cool. And there's both, there's chorus and compression, which is around about here. You need longer hair and spandex. Okay, so I'm just going to leave all the effects turned off for the rest of this demo, other than that little bit of reverb that we've got. The next one then is to change the mic type to a dynamic microphone, which is a different kind of microphone. It's typically speaking the sort of mic that you might sing into. It it has a slightly more sort of punchy. Well, let's hear it. Let's just hear the sound. That's in its direct mode, so just like the mode we were in before, this is just the piezo pickup of the
a lot more middly than the condenser mic. It's sort of more boxy sound, but actually it can be really useful. Especially for sort of finger picking stuff, because that mid-range brings out a little bit more of the articulation.
There's no real, the thing with, there's no real right or wrong with how you might mic a guitar up, or how you might mic a cabinet up, or which mic you would use. There's only sounds you like and sounds you don't like. So you just tinker until you get a sound that you like, and the fact that you've got a condenser and a dynamic option on here just means that you can kind of choose and see, you know, smaller bodied guitars will sound different to bigger bodied guitars, and obviously certain mics will suit, you know, different styles. So that's I mean, fundamentally it's the same idea as the condenser mic, isn't it? But just a different tone.
Yeah, just a slightly different tone. So whereas the condenser mic, if we switch to full mic and go back to the condenser, you get kind of open, very clean.
Yeah. And that's the dynamic.
It doesn't sound like a different guitar,
no,
but it's just got a slightly different character. It's a little bit more boxy, it's a little bit more middly, still a really useful, really natural tone. It's just got that character, the difference if you went from a big diaphragm condenser to like a 57.
Yeah. So, moving on to the next one then, which is the tube microphone. Presumably, again, that's sort of based on, it would still be a condenser microphone, but running through some sort of tube sort of preamp within the microphone to just give it that kind of overtone, this tube obsession that us guitarists have, where everything has to run through a tube before it sounds any good. And it just kind of adds layers of warmth. So we'll hear. In fact, what's probably quite useful again is leaving it on the full mic mode. I'll just switch between the three different types of mic that are on here. The Nylon one presumably is an emulator, like a Nylon emulator, rather than a different type of mic.
It's actually a different setting for an electro nylon string guitar. So if you've got like an APX Nylon or an NX, an NCX or an NTX or a silent guitar nylon string, you go direct into the Nylon sound, and it's optimized. Now, again, like you said, there's no right or wrong, so you can plug your steel string acoustic into it, and if you love the sound, great, go with it.
But it's not a nylon mic.
It isn't going to make this sound like a nylon string guitar.
So let's So we're on the tube setting now. Again, we'll start with the direct, and I'll blend it in, and you can hear what it sounds like. And what I'll do now is I'll just literally switch between tube, dynamic and condenser mic so you can kind of hear the difference. So. So I think of the three there, probably my favourite one was the condenser.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think a lot of people tend to gravitate for this kind of use when it's just the guitar on its own. I think most people will probably gravitate towards the condenser mic, because that tone that a condenser has of lots of low end and lots of high end and just really natural's fantastic when you're just playing on your own. But actually, if you use this for recording and you want to stick it in a mix, you might find the dynamic really useful. And it's just slightly different styles. If you want to play a bit more of a...
Too mushy, isn't it?
Yeah, you might want to go for the tube mic on that.
Let's try that then.
And just...
Very Django. No, that was a good good bit of advice really there as well, because it is, as you say, different styles just require, particularly if you're going to record it. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this nylon setting, which might be a bit pointless for the steel string, but we'll hear it anyway.
I mean, you can hear that there's almost kind of a honkiness in the mid-range. But that suits nylon strings perfectly, because they've got that sort of softened kind of sound. Yeah. And there's no rule that you can't use your steel string with that, and you might love that sound, but it's designed that if you plug a nylon string electro in it, it just goes, works perfectly.
Now the last one you were saying is an electric guitar amplifier, and I'm guessing this is to sort of emulate some of those classic guitar players from the 60s or whatever that would have just taken, their acoustic guitar and plugged it into an electric guitar amp because that's all that they had.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there probably are some classic sounds. So on the electric guitar sound, and you were saying the blend control becomes a gain control.
Yep.
So let's have a little listen to that type of sound.
I mean, it's just like plugging your acoustic into a tube amp, which there's a couple of reasons for having this model on there. The first is that it means that if you buy a THR5A, yes, of course, it's got all the acoustic models, but if you want to use it for your electric as well, this is a really nice, effectively like a little tube electric amp at the same time. Plus, it gives you that option of the clean guitar straight into a clean acoustic straight into an electric amp, which is kind of a cool tone. But the other thing that's really good for this is there's a breed of players, guys like Monty Montgomery, who they're acoustic players, but their sound is totally based on actually a bunch of effects and running it through overdriven valve amps, and you can get that kind of tone really effectively with this. So if we wind the gain up, stick a little bit of compression on, and I'll put a bit of delay.
Do we need to back the volume down a little bit?
Yeah, we might do, because it's going to get kind of loud.
Is a dirty guitar sound.
I mean, it's a weird sound, and it sounds nothing like an acoustic. But there's a small group of people who use that as a creative thing, and you can do it really, really easily with this.
Cool. All right. Well, look. So that's your basic idea here. This currently it's September 2012 now. I had to think about that. And this is selling for £169 in Andertons. They're available to order now. Prices I expect will change if this is a year down the line that you're watching this video. So always go to the Andertons website to find out what the latest one is. But knowing what other acoustic guitar amplifiers sell for, although this is a little bit more expensive than perhaps you'd find other home use amplifiers out there, it's the first home use amp that I've heard for an acoustic guitar that I actually would want to buy. Because at the moment, if I go into Andertons and just say, what have you got at like a little 5-watt guitar amplifier, you plug in, it sounds pretty crap and actually doesn't make a lot more noise than the guitar makes on its own anyway, and you think, well, what's the point of buying that? I do like the fact that this is adding all kinds of studio kind of goodness to the sound and really as you say, that kind of acoustic guitar practice amp, there's always been a bit of a like, well, why would you want one? Because surely the whole point of an acoustic guitar is that it makes a noise and you sit and practice with it.
Yeah.
But this does add all those kind of studio flavours and extra kind of things that you know, mic adjustments and everything that makes plugging into an amp, even just at home, worthwhile. So,
and from a recording point of view, it is
of course
super simple, because you can plug your regular acoustic into it, and you've got actually a really natural mic simulation without having to buy a mic or put a mic in front of it and learn how to mic it and worrying about all the other stuff that goes with miking. So brilliant recording interface for acoustic guitar.
So, and just like all the other THR, you can plug your MP3 player into here and jam along. You can, presumably you can store, if it uses the USB, can you store stuff on the editor or
Yep,
not?
same deal. If you use the editor software, you can store, on the 5 you can't store anything on the unit, but you can store it in the librarian using the editor. Comes with Cubase, basically comes with all the stuff that comes with regular THR.
Runs on batteries or mains, so I guess for a busker or something you might find that's kind of cool, a little kind of, you know, just sit on the street and play. But I really, really like this. I have a feeling this could well be as popular as the kind of some of the THRs that we did for electric guitar. But that's very cool. Only available as a THR5. If you're familiar with the range, you'll know that the electric guitar ones do a bigger one, a 10 watt one as well. But this is only available as a 5. But no, that is a definite winner for me. Well done, Yamaha. That's a great little product, that is. So really, really impressed with this little THR5A. If you want to find out more about it, or you'd like to order one, what you need to do is go to the Andertons website. You can follow the link that's here, or if you go to the notes section under this video, it'll actually be a proper link in there. Find out all the detail about the effects and the USB stuff and everything like that. But for now, thanks to Julian for coming along and demonstrating it. I've been the Captain. I'll see you next time.